I'm Shanna. I'm here at Cambria Nursery Florist, and I wanted to share with you a way to make a beautiful and very easy fountain for your garden. This is a stone fountain, and it just requires some simple items that you can find in your yard, here and there, maybe a trip to the hardware store for a couple things. Of course, we're going to start with a beautiful vessel, a container. And I've selected this one right here. This one we have available here at the nursery. We have a few of these in stock. There's many items that would be comparable to this that would work very well. This actually is made of like a concrete blend material. It's sort of a blend of concrete and resin. It is watertight, which I think is important. So if you weren't going to use this pot, you'd certainly want to look for one that was glazed. I mean, you could actually use one that was porous. However, it would use more water because the water would weep out. It could potentially look amazing and cool because it would grow moss. So that's something to experiment with. But I selected this one because it holds water nicely. So for our stone fountain, I have cruised around and selected a number of different rocks. You can see I have several rocks of different varieties, all different kinds of materials. I can't really tell you much about what kind of rocks they are. I just can tell you that they're somewhat porous in that they're easy to drill through. So I have a heavy-duty masonry drill bit. This is an exceptional project, and really without this item, this project is really hard. So this is the specialty part. It's a long bit. It's a 1/2-inch drill bit that I'm using. It's designed to go through concrete. It's designed to go through stone, and it works fabulously well. I will tell you that out of every part of the project, this can be kind of a time-consuming part. You can't rush. You need to use an electric drill. I would not use a cordless drill. You know, battery-powered drill, it's just not going to be strong enough. If you have a roto hammer and you set it on just the drill setting, that is an ideal way to go. Patience is going to be required for this part of it. And of course, looking for a porous stone makes it much easier. So I positioned my rock so that it's sitting nice and level. This rock is nice. It has a naturally flat bottom, which is really helpful. And I like this rock. It's got some holes in it, which is kind of cool. The holes have already started to grow a little bit of moss, so I think that's going to be really cool. So I'm going to look for a center point, give myself a little guide, mark it here, and that's where I'm going to start my drilling. Start out nice and slow. I'm going to recommend that you don't push really hard. It's going to make it too hard on the drill. Let the drill bit do the work. This is a nice flat rock. I'm going to put a hole right in the center. And this is flat, really nice and level on both sides. And I'm going to position my boulder on top of this. This is going to elevate it slightly so that the function operates nicely, and we can kind of camouflage a couple things, but this is an essential part of the design. It also helps to secure the pipe as well. So again, level surface, right in the center, and off you go. Okay, so I have several rocks that I've drilled holes through. Kind of get you going with what I got here. So this is a really fun one. This was very easy to drill. It was really soft rock, and it's got these awesome holes in it. And I expect that this is going to be an awesome one for growing moss. So that's a fun one to consider. I love the shape of this one. This one was, again, pretty easy to drill through, but it's got a really great texture. I love that shape. I like the shape of this one as well. This one, again, really nice porous, and it's got this really rough surface, which will again grow moss. Got a couple of flat rocks here. I'm going to use this one to elevate. I like this one as well. I might make a fountain with this later, but I think this could be beautiful with water cascading over it. First step is I'm going to take 2 large bricks or pavers, whatever you can find, and And I'm going to work on top of these because I'm going to be putting an extension cord at the bottom of the pot. And in order to do that, I need to have a place for the cord to kind of hang out so it's not creating an unlevel surface. So I'm going to take my pot, position it on top of my 2 bricks. So this is a small pump. And when you buy your pump, you're going to want to make sure that you take a look at the lift. It should be listed on the side of the package so you get the right one. You're going to be using a small pump, especially if you're going to make something similar to what I'm doing. So it's really only needs to lift, it's less than 2 feet, right? So really small pump. Important to note, all pumps, well, most pumps, all pumps will be adjustable. So this is a little device right here. This allows you to adjust the flow. And generally speaking, you're going to want to have it on the most restricted flow so that it bubbles nicely and you can get a nice calm look. The next step is that we're going to cut the plug off of the pump and we're going to replace it with our own plug. You know, I've gone and I've gotten a nice outdoor friendly plug and I'm going to cut this guy right off and wire it onto this. That way I can put it right straight through the bottom of the hole that's in the pot. So this is a rubber stopper that I got downtown at our hardware store. They come in a wide variety of sizes, and I am going to make it so that it will accommodate the extension cord so that I can plug it in the bottom of the pot and it will snug up and create a waterproof barrier around the cord of my pump. And also, you can actually buy this part. It's called a fountain plug. You can buy them online, but they're kind of hard to find. And when I'm doing this project, you know, I never know exactly what size hole I'm going to have at the bottom of my container. Usually it's kind of small. So a lot of the fountain plugs aren't exactly the right size. So I like to do this because it allows me to get exactly what I want. And I'm going to show you how we do this. I'm going to put a different drill bit on my drill. This is just a really standard, it's actually a wood drill bit, but it's nice and sharp. Very carefully, I am going to hold my plug in place, very carefully, and then again, really slowly in the smack dead center. You got to really hold on to this thing and start very, very slowly. The next step, I'm going to take a utility knife and again, very, very carefully, I'm going to slice all the way down on one side only, straight down to create a slight gap between in the bottom of my plug. Very easily done. Okay, so you can see right here that I've got that sliced open. Now I want to tell you, I kind of forgot to tell you that I picked a drill bit size that was tiny bit smaller than my cord. Okay, so I've got my pump in here and you can see that I have added a piece of plastic tubing and I've done a little adaptation for my pump and I've got my pump down kind of set low and I'm going to take my cord, my plug, and I'm going to ease that guy right in there. Fits right in there. It's really snug. You're going to see that there's a little bit of a gap there, but when I cram that into the hole, it'll snug up completely. But I'll shove that guy in the bottom of the hole, and if you're really concerned about leaks, which you should be, you can add a little bit of silicone glue, waterproof silicone glue, but I never actually have to. As long as you get that plug right deep down there, it works great. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. Okay, next step is gravel. I am going to bring some gravel in and I'm going to elevate and create a shelf for my support. I like this gravel for this purpose. This gravel has a lot of angles and it packs down really nicely. It's not round, it's not a pea gravel, it's a crushed rock. It's a great product for this purpose. So I'm going to pour my gravel in. Use my hand to level the gravel. Keep moving the pump out of your way so you can work. So every time I do a project like this to build a fountain, I have to go to the hardware store and try to find a piece of cement, piece of block that will work for this purpose. This is a particularly cool one. This is a corner piece. I also like to use this one. This is a nice little square. And this has a groove in it, which is designed for rebar. So you got to look for this as specific, and you'll see why this little groove is really helpful. This block fit really nicely into this pot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on top of the gravel, and this is where my pump is going to actually hide out. I'm going to pull the cord to the side and kind of sneak that in there. I'm going to work to try to get that position nice and level. Let's see, I got a little level here. Get my stone in there. This will help me. Okay, that looks kind of okay. All right. All right, that's pretty good, pretty level. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I have a handy dandy barbecue grate. Now, I actually just purchased this one. It's brand new, it's like a replacement. However, 99% of the time I buy these like secondhand used at yard sales. Or I see them in the trash and I dumpster dive for them. I kid you not. They're much better that way, actually. They're kind of like all like weathered. But these work absolutely fabulous for this purpose. It's kind of a game changer for this project. And now you can see there's the side that has the ridge, this bar that unites the whole thing. That I put down, and that fits nicely in between the groove, but is perfectly supported by the block. So that's why this block is so ideal. And you can see here again, if I'd use this one, see how nice that sits? I'm gonna make, right after I finish this fountain, I'm gonna make a bigger fountain. But see how nice that sits in there? Really, really clever. You know, I like that. So I've got my grate on top of here, and it's relatively level. Not too bad. Okay, great. I'm going to take a piece of vinyl screen. Nice piece of vinyl screen here. And take my grate off, mark this out just a little bit. Gonna go about 1/4 of an inch all the way around the exterior. Like yay. Give myself a guide so it's nice and relatively even. There. Okay, great. Then grate goes down first, and then my vinyl screen goes on. I'm gonna tuck it in a little bit so it's not wonky. There we go. Go down, you little guy, go down. Now for my first stone. So I've decided to use this rock, which I love. I think it's going to be awesome. And then this is my little lift, nice and flat. Put that in here on top. This next part can be fiddly, but it's extremely crucial to get this to operate properly. So this material that I have here is called aquatic putty. This is something that you can find in a flower shop. It's commonly used to hold what's called frogs. They're like devices for holding flowers. They're very old school. But this stuff is really versatile. It's used for lots of different things. And it's an awesome waterproof, water-resistant putty. And what we're gonna do with that is I got a nice little wad here, ready to go. Stretch it out. I am going to put that on my tube, my plastic tubing. I want to talk a little bit about how I cut the length of the tubing. I've done these fountains a number of different ways, and sometimes I use a copper pipe and I'll bring it all the way to the top. But in this case, I kind of have to improvise with what I've got. So I have this tubing. I have discovered that it works way better to have this pipe kind of on the low side and then use the putty to create a seal around the remaining space that's inside the hole to get the effect that I really like the best. So just kind of, and it will sort of stick. As I put it on, you'll see it'll kind of resist. It's also kind of good to work with this stuff when it's warm. It seems to work better when it's warm. So I'm gonna put these two guys on top of each other like that, and I can feel that the putty is setting up nicely. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to fill it with water and see if I have the pump adjusted properly. So I am fairly happy with that. That's kind of a good amount of dribblication there. I'm liking that. See if I can get it situated so it comes all the way around. We'd like the water to sheet all the way around so that when it grows moss, it's evenly distributed. And I just think it looks really pretty if the sheen of the water covers the whole rock, if possible. You know, I just think that looks nice. Now, in order to get it just right to do that, you can use like pennies or nickels or quarters to like shims underneath the stone to get it so that it sits nicely. But that's best if you do that when you have the fountain where it's going to live permanently, so you can create that exact level and get the aesthetic just right. So it's working well. The last step is really the decorative gravel. There's a variety of different places we sell decorative gravel here at the nursery. So finishing touch. So you can see the importance of the stone that I put below the round stone. That elevator is really important to get the effect of visualizing, you know, really seeing the full shape of the stone. As the fountain operates, these rocks actually don't get wet. So I like that, actually. This is Shanna at Cambria Nursery. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that this fountain helps you further enjoy your beautiful garden.